You want to know what really pisses me off? The absolute silence from so-called wrestling journalists and dirt sheet writers who are too busy manufacturing fake drama about backstage politics while completely ignoring one of the most courageous battles happening right in front of our eyes. While everyone's obsessing over contract negotiations and creative disputes, Liv Morgan is fighting for her life, and somehow that's not considered newsworthy enough for the wrestling media machine. Let me be crystal clear about something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. The wrestling industry has a disgusting track record when it comes to supporting performers during health crises. We've seen wrestlers literally die because they were afraid to seek help, worried about losing their spot, terrified that showing vulnerability would end their careers. And here we have Liv Morgan, one of the most genuine and hardworking talents in WWE, facing breast cancer with more courage than most of these keyboard warriors will ever possess. And where's the coverage? Where's the respect? WWE's support for Liv Morgan during her breast cancer battle isn't just a corporate PR move, it's a fundamental shift in how this company treats its talent during life-threatening situations. But here's what's going to make your blood boil. There are still people within the wrestling community who are questioning whether she deserves this level of support, whether she's important enough to warrant this attention, whether WWE should be wasting resources on someone who isn't a main event player. Those people can go straight to hell, and I'll tell you exactly why. Gianna Jean Daddio, that's Liv Morgan's real name for those who only know her by her character, didn't ask for this fight. She didn't choose to become a symbol of strength and perseverance. She was living her dream, working her ass off in WWE, building a career that she'd sacrificed everything for, when cancer decided to crash the party uninvited. And the way she's handled this diagnosis, the way she's continued to show up, continue to work, continue to inspire millions of fans around the world, that takes a level of intestinal fortitude that most people simply don't possess. But here's where I'm going to get controversial, and I don't care who it upsets. The wrestling community's response to Liv's diagnosis has exposed some ugly truths about how we prioritize stories and which wrestlers we consider worthy of our attention and support. When a main event star gets injured, every dirt sheet in the world covers it like breaking news. When a mid-card wrestler faces a life-threatening illness, it barely registers as a footnote. That double standard is not just disappointing, it's morally bankrupt. Liv Morgan has been grinding in WWE for over 8 years. She's paid her dues, she's earned her stripes, she's connected with fans in ways that so-called top stars never have. She's worked injured, she's taken bumps that would hospitalize most people, she's given everything she has to this business. And when she needed the wrestling community to rally around her, to show the same energy we show for manufactured controversies and backstage gossip, where was everyone? WWE, to their absolute credit, has stepped up in ways that should make every other wrestling promotion take notes. The financial support, the medical resources, the commitment to keeping Liv as part of the WWE family throughout her treatment. This is how you treat human beings who have dedicated their lives to your company. This is how you prove that your WWE Universe is a family. Rhetoric isn't just empty corporate speak. Stephanie McMahon, before her departure from WWE, personally ensured that Liv would have access to the best medical care available. Triple H has kept her involved in creative discussions and planning for her return. Nick Khan has made it clear that Liv's position in WWE is secure regardless of how long her treatment takes. These aren't token gestures, this is a company recognizing that their employees are human beings first and performers second. But let's address the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. There are wrestlers, both past and present, who are bitter about the level of support Liv is receiving. They're whispering in locker rooms and posting cryptic social media messages about favorites and special treatment. These miserable human beings are actually jealous of a woman battling cancer because they think she's getting attention they deserve. Let me make something abundantly clear to those pathetic excuses for human beings. Liv Morgan didn't choose to have cancer to get sympathy or attention. She would trade every bit of support she's receiving to go back to being healthy and anonymous. The fact that some wrestlers are bitter about the compassion being shown to a colleague fighting for her life tells you everything you need to know about their character, or lack thereof. The most infuriating part of this entire situation is watching fans debate whether Liv deserves a push when she returns, whether her cancer battle should automatically earn her a championship opportunity, whether WWE is exploiting her situation for positive publicity. These discussions are happening in wrestling forums and social media threads, and they make me absolutely sick to my stomach. Here's a newsflash for anyone participating in those debates: Liv Morgan doesn't owe you entertainment while she's fighting cancer. She doesn't owe you storylines or matches or appearances. She doesn't owe you anything except her best effort when she's healthy enough to give it. And if WWE decides to celebrate her return and her strength by giving her opportunities, that's not charity, that's recognizing a warrior who refused to quit when quitting would have been the easiest thing in the world. The medical details of Liv's journey have been kept appropriately private, but what we do know should humble anyone with a functioning conscience. The physical toll of cancer treatment is devastating. The emotional and psychological impact is crushing. The uncertainty, the fear, the pain, these are battles that happen away from the cameras, away from the crowds, away from the glamour of sports entertainment. And through all of it, Liv has maintained her dignity, her positivity, and her connection with fans who see her as more than just a wrestler. She's become a symbol of hope for people facing their own health battles. She's shown young girls that strength isn't just about winning matches or holding championships, it's about getting up every day and refusing to let circumstances defeat your spirit. WWE's support network for Liv has included access to top oncologists, coverage for experimental treatments, and a commitment to maintaining her health insurance regardless of her active roster status. They've arranged for her to work remotely on projects she's passionate about, keeping her engaged with the company and the fans without putting additional stress on her recovery. But beyond the corporate support, it's the personal relationships within WWE that have made the biggest difference. Rhea Ripley, despite their on-screen rivalry, has been one of Liv's strongest supporters throughout this journey. Bianca Belair has regularly checked in and offered both emotional support and practical help. Even wrestlers from different brands and different eras have reached out to offer encouragement and share their own experiences with serious health issues. This is the WWE that casual observers don't see, the genuine family atmosphere that exists when the cameras stop rolling and real life takes precedence over storylines and character work. When one of their own faces a genuine crisis, the wrestling community can be incredibly supportive and loving. However, that same community can also be cruel and ignorant when they don't understand the gravity of a situation. The number of fans who have criticized Liv for taking time away from television, who have suggested she should just push through her treatment, who have minimized the seriousness of her diagnosis, these people represent the absolute worst aspects of wrestling fandom. Cancer doesn't care about television ratings. Cancer doesn't care about storyline continuity. Cancer doesn't care about your fantasy booking or your opinions about who deserves screen time. Cancer is a monster that attacks indiscriminately, and anyone who has the audacity to criticize someone for prioritizing their health over entertainment needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror. The financial implications of a cancer diagnosis, even for someone with WE's support system, are staggering. The specialized treatments, the potential experimental therapies, the time away from work, these costs can bankrupt families and end careers. WWE's commitment to covering these expenses and maintaining Liv's financial security represents a level of corporate responsibility that should be the industry standard, not the exception. But money isn't the only consideration. The emotional support, the reassurance that her job will be waiting when she's ready, the knowledge that she doesn't have to choose between her health and her career, these elements are just as crucial to her recovery and peace of mind. Wrestling has lost too many performers to preventable deaths because they were afraid to seek help or couldn't afford proper medical care. The industry's macho culture has historically discouraged wrestlers from showing weakness or vulnerability, leading to tragic consequences that could have been avoided with better support systems and more compassionate leadership. WWE's handling of Liv's situation represents a complete departure from that toxic mentality. They're publicly supporting her, celebrating her strength, and making it clear that health always comes first. This sends a powerful message to other wrestlers who might be facing their own health crises. You don't have to suffer in silence, you don't have to choose between your well-being and your career. The ripple effects of this approach extend far beyond one wrestler's personal battle. Other wrestling promotions are watching how WWE handles this situation, and hopefully learning from their example. Wrestlers throughout the industry are seeing that it's possible to be vulnerable, to ask for help, to prioritize health without sacrificing their professional standing. For fans who have supported Liv throughout her WWE journey, her cancer battle has deepened that connection in ways that transcend typical wrestler-fan relationships. She's not just an entertainer anymore, she's a real person facing real struggles, and her courage in sharing parts of her journey has inspired countless people dealing with their own health challenges. The messages of support flooding her social media accounts aren't just from wrestling fans, they're from cancer survivors, from people currently in treatment, from families who have lost loved ones to the disease. Liv has become a beacon of hope for a community that extends far beyond sports entertainment, and that responsibility, while powerful, can also be overwhelming. When Liv eventually returns to WWE television, and notice I said, when, not if, it's going to be one of the most emotional moments in recent wrestling history. The pop from the crowd, the genuine tears of joy, the celebration of survival and strength, this will be appointment television that transcends typical wrestling programming. But here's what I need everyone to understand, her return doesn't mark the end of her cancer journey. Recovery is ongoing, monitoring is lifelong, and the psychological impact of a cancer diagnosis doesn't disappear just because treatment ends successfully. WWE's support needs to continue, the fan community's patience needs to continue, and the wrestling media's respectful coverage needs to continue. The precedent being set here matters more than any single storyline or championship reign. WWE is proving that their performers are valued as human beings, not just content creators. They're showing that corporate success and human compassion aren't mutually exclusive. They're demonstrating leadership in an industry that desperately needs positive examples. So the next time you see a wrestling journalist complaining about lack of access to backstage drama, or a fan whining about storyline directions, or a wrestler being bitter about someone else's opportunities, remember Liv Morgan. Remember that real courage isn't about taking bumps or cutting promos, it's about facing the possibility of death with grace and determination. Remember that WWE's support for Liv isn't just good business or smart PR, it's basic human decency that should be celebrated and replicated throughout the industry. And remember that sometimes the most important wrestling stories have nothing to do with wins and losses and everything to do with the strength of the human spirit. If that doesn't deserve your respect, your support, and your attention, then you need to seriously reconsider why you're a wrestling fan in the first place. Liv Morgan is fighting the fight of her life, and WWE is standing with her every step of the way. That's not just a story, that's a standard that every wrestling promotion should aspire to meet. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.